Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do something a little different. I was supposed to get the benchmarks done. That is still going to be hopefully up this week, but there is something else that I wanted to go ahead and give a try. So I've been hearing a lot about how Epic Games in particular heats up the Ryzen CPU. So I have a 5800X, and that GPU has now been given the unfortunate reputation to run very, very hot. And from personal experience, that is what I've noticed. And I've spent the first week of since I built my computer just trying to figure out a way around it to try and diagnose any specific problems and how I can basically mitigate that issue of the CPU overheating. It should not be hitting the temperatures it should right away on a 360 AIO. I have my old CPU had a Noctua D15, and I had a 2700X, another 8-core CPU, just like the 5800X, albeit maybe not as tight of a node structure, 5 nanometers versus, 7 nanometers on the new 5000 versus maybe 10 or 14 nanometers. I'm not sure about that, but completely different architecture. But still, I was not seeing temperatures that high. Even with the stock cooler with the 2700X, that would go up to maybe 70C, and I would be like, whoa, that's too hot. And when I would run benchmarks on this computer, specifically Cinebench, it would immediately shoot up to 85. Now, the interesting thing is, 3D Mark, those tests, the CPU temps never really went as high as that. So when I eventually release the benchmark, I'm actually going to show you guys the graph for that as well, and just show you how the temperature changes over time for both the CPU and the GPU. The GPU has been amazing. The 3090 has not really breached 60C, and if it did, it's very brief. The fan curves that are already built in are run very nicely. It's very quiet. I don't hear it. The quietest thing on my the only thing I really hear are the 3 Noctua fans, and that's my personal choice. I have headphones, but it keeps everything cool. But the 5800X should still not be running as hot as it should. And I did a couple of things to try and fix it. And what we're actually going to do today is we're going to go through a couple of everyday processes. I'm not going to stress test it or do worst case scenarios where basically a bunch of unknown processes or multiple instances of background tasks are running. I'm going to just do everyday things that maybe gamers have on their systems. Someone who built a new PC that has a bunch of RGB software, what they may have on their system. So I'm just going to go through and we're going to just basically systematically add one on top of the other on top of the other. Now, I did do this before, and I know which softwares are going to spike the temperature. And there are 3 in particular, not just Epic Games. Yes, that is one of them that has been found out so far, but there are 2 others, and I'm going to show you them. So let me go ahead and show you guys the rig all set up first, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with that process and see how it turns out. So here is the rig all built right here. There's the cooler, there's the AIO in the second PCIe slot. Still runs great, but yeah, the Noctuas look great in there. They're not obnoxious at all. The little brown actually gives it a pretty cool look. You can't see those fans back there. That's kind of how I want it, just kind of blacked out. And of course we have the case fans right there. Looks gorgeous. So this is just a quick look. It looks great. I love it. Ignore the mess. Ignore the wires. But yeah, I have it on this table so I can go ahead and give my desk plenty of space. And so my desk is just like that. It's nothing fancy. There's a pen, show I work. There's my mask, stay healthy. So yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and my monitor, it just does that. It's an old Dell from like 10 years ago. I work with it. Once it goes back in sleep mode and I wake it up, it fixes itself. But yeah, that's my desk. I gave myself more room. I used to have this thing on the desk, and it would take up so much room. So I moved it, or basically to its own table, and it ended up being a much better setup. So let's get started. So I went ahead and restarted my system. It's starting up. So we're gonna see what the temperatures look like at startup, basically. Yeah. At startup, I'm gonna go ahead and start the program, a tuning. Get that started right away. Okay, try again. That particular app does not seem to like it. It's in performance mode currently. I'm gonna go ahead and close that out. System info, have it load, and we're gonna go ahead and zoom in. And we should be able to see right now the temperatures are 65°C, just starting. It's gonna rapidly drop. Everything is kind of starting up and logging in. This is a typical, when you start your computer, what we're looking at, where the temperatures are. And this is before, I believe this is before I have optimized it. And yeah, so the particular software that I'm talking about, that keeps your temperature, I just restarted my computer and the temperatures are sitting at 48°C. And there's one particular software that does this. And I'm gonna go ahead and close it out, and then I'll show you what it is. Quit the software. Is that the only one? That should be the only one, but that's not the only thing. You can quit it, but it's still going to run in the background. And that's the worst part about it. Yep, you see the temperature is dropping dramatically, but even though I closed it, it's still there. That's something you guys have to remember with these different kind of oh, is the control center on right now? I'll go ahead and close that out. It should not be open right now. And that task. Yeah. So that's something you guys have to remember, that even though you close out the actual app, it doesn't necessarily mean that the app is actually. So here is the culprit right here. Corsair Service CPU ID Remote. If you look at utilization, we're looking at 1.2%. And temperatures are sitting at 43, 41°C. It's not dropping. And the next thing should be basically Task Manager. Generally, Task Manager will sometimes jump to 1%. But this should not happen. So I'm going to go ahead and end that task. Right there. There you go. And we're dropping. Unless it starts itself up. Sometimes it'll start itself up. And then I actually have to close out the server for it. So that particular, and it starts itself up. So what you gotta do, so I'm gonna go ahead and sort by name. Corsair Service, CPU ID, Service, Corsair headset drivers, Corsair again. And it's a shame, right? Corsair is a big company. Maybe this is just coming up. This is just prominent, just arising because of the new Ryzen CPUs. But still, if I close that out and then I close this out, that should fix the problem. CPU ID remote, and it should go ahead and end that. There you go. Immediately we dropped. If it doesn't start itself up, those two things alone drop the temperature 10 degrees Celsius. And I haven't even begun to get rid of any other apps, and that was the one I reinstalled. So we're going to go ahead and basically start the test now that I wanted to start, which was basically to open up a bunch of processes, a bunch of applications. They will generally tend to be here. And right now, I know it's kind of hard to see, but we have the Razer Central app right there, Steam. That's closed out. The Logitech G Hub, and this is the ASRock tuning utility, which I'm using to look at frequency and everything. And this is just Nvidia setting. So for a clean system, when we exit all apps and we exit Steam, We exit Logitech G Hub. And what else do we want to... Oh, this is Task Manager. I will keep that up too. That shouldn't be a problem. What is it? Can I close this? I'm not going to close that. Because let's say this is a typical system. You start it up. These are generally what you want. These kind of four. You want the Bluetooth. You want your security. You want... basically, this is your Task Manager. This will probably be closed. This will probably be closed. So generally, between 3 to 5 main processes will be running. So we're going to go ahead and open them up one at a time. And I'm going to try and keep the temperature visible here. And the frequency. But remember, even though I closed them, I killed the killer, I closed G-Hub, I closed Steam, you have to remember that those are still going to show up here. Here, Corsair is still running all their stuff. Utilization right now, and the Corsair CPU ID remote came back. My god. Alright. Well, this is why I didn't want to install it on my computer. Close that out. Stop watching me, Corsair. Nobody cares about my CPU. You know what? We don't need that either. We don't need that. No more Corsair stuff, right? So yeah, as you guys can see, I did not reopen Corsair at all. Name, utilization 1%. Yeah, that's fine. And the temperature is at what now? 36°C. So if that starts up again on its own, you'll know by the temperature spike. Maybe I will just keep this here too. Just like that by utilization. Yeah, I'll keep this here too actually. And this will be here. And will that block that? No, that's perfect. That's what we're looking at. I'll raise it up just a bit. Just like that. 44°C. Corsair came back. Corsair. I don't even need to do the test. This is why I uninstalled it. Because it automatically, you can close the server, you can close their app, and it's still going to open everything again. I'm going to do my test. We're basically, unfortunately, going to start at 38°C. It can go down to 36°C, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and begin our test. I'm going to start with something simple, Steam, right? Let's open up Steam. So Steam has started up, basically, and we're sitting at 42°C right now. It takes a minute for all the services to load up, but it doesn't... My idea of a passing app is that it doesn't make your CPU cross 40°C consistently. It'll take a second, it'll boost up, it'll load everything, and that's it. It's not going to continually, ask your system for more resources. It's allocated it, it's not going to run high anymore, and that's it. So this is a pass, we're at 38°C. CPU ID remote is Corsair service CPU ID remote still on top, followed by this with 0.2. Alright, so the next one we're going to open is I'm going to open the killer network. So this is for both the Wi-Fi and the what do you call it? Both for Wi-Fi and Ethernet connection. So that's open. Okay, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and ignore that. We're sitting at 45°C killer control, 0.2%, 42. When you see Corsair service CPU ID remote pop up, the temperature will go up again. So now we're down to 39°C. Corsair is still on top right there. And I have not even opened their app now. So we're looking at how many apps. This is Task Manager, this is Steam, this is Killer. These aren't generally unusual apps to open for like a typical person who builds their computer for the purpose of gaming. Alright, so the next thing we're going to open is for my Logitech stuff. Alright, let's open Logitech G Hub, right? So I'm going to go ahead and close that. But you see now Logitech has appeared, 3%. That's fine, let it ramp up. CPU, LG Hub Agent, all this stuff will come up, that's okay. remember, a process, an application needs time to start things up and ramp down. Again, the top one is Corsair Service CPU ID Remote. Temperatures are sitting at 39°C. Just to show you, G Hub is still here. Did not close it. Still open. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna open is, let's see. Oh yeah, Razer. Razer has a bunch of the Razer Synapse stuff. So Razer is starting up. This is to control everything, my RGB on my case, my motherboard, my mouse pad, everything. So that's open, and they are no small application. They have no less than 6 different services running. And what do we have on top again? Corsair Service CPU ID Remote. We're sitting at 41°C, the only one using a high CPU utilization is that Corsair CPU ID. And we are, this is not like we're sitting at 4.4, 4.2. Our operation mode is performance mode. So I didn't change it. So when we go back to system information, that's fine. We're just gonna stick that over here again. I don't remember how it was, but yeah. 50°C, and I'm not sure why. It's showing that's at 3% because I probably reloaded it. Give it a second. 46°C, yeah. But when I open it up, again, we have all those apps. Generally, I'll have this ASRock tuning open, Nvidia, Steam, Killer. So this is generally what I will have open. Temperatures will be good. Unfortunately, I installed Corsair. So I specifically uninstalled it because of this, because it would make my CPU ramp up for no good reason. Once it's done doing whatever it's doing, it will drop below 40°C. But it's consistently, even though I haven't opened it yet. Okay, what's left? So we have everything that I generally normally open up. Now, these are things that I will not open up on a daily basis. So one of them is maybe someone loves The Sims, right? I'm opening Origin up. Let's go ahead and open Origin up. The Origin is up. There you go, Origin, 3% utilization. Of course, anti-malware executable. Temperatures are at 51 after everything starts. Corsair is closed. Origin is closed right now. All these are up. Corsair is not open yet, by the way. This is going on in the background. And the number one, again, is that Corsair Service CPU ID Remote. Most utilization right there, still. Next thing we can do is, let's do Epic Games. So Epic Games supposedly fixed the issue. So this was one of the 3 apps that were causing problems, right? So, Epic Games. Epic Game is opening up. It's loading. It's logging me in. We see the Epic Game logo right there. Go ahead and oh no. And we are sitting at what? Where are we sitting right now? 52°C. We have Epic's Game Launcher, 3.7%. Oh, that's still open. Just a second. Alright, I closed that up. We're sitting at 47°C. So it looks like they did fix it. It used to go to 60. But the number one is still the CP, is the Corsair Service CPU ID Remote. They are doing something in the background. So the next thing is... Okay, this is another app which I believe is also part of the problem, which I didn't realize until I started doing this test. Just remember, though, we're sitting at all these open right now. These wouldn't be atypical for someone's computer to have these processes running all at the same time. So let's say, okay, you want to talk to your friend while you play The Sims or something. I don't know. So we're opening up Discord. Discord is starting up. There you go. it has started up. 10% CPU utilization. We're sitting at 60C. And we're going to go ahead and close out Discord, but we are still open. So Windows audio graph, this is all the Windows stuff associated with it. Temperatures are dropping, but it did not drop below the 40C. So my consideration for passing is, can the application operate? Can the processes be open and keep my temperature cool? So Discord was actually not one of those apps, and it was actually the one that kind of ate up a lot of utilization. Maybe not utilization, but it's definitely running something in the background that's causing it to heat up. It now will not go below 40C at all from experience. Now the final one we're going to open is the icue app. This is the Corsair icue app. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Everything is loading up for that, and anti-malware is going at the exact same time. And then if we close that, icue should still be running. Yep, there it is, Corsair icue. Where are we with temperatures? 44C. Alright, so it looks like it's not going to drop. Oh wait, there are a couple of other ones I can open. So one of them that I can open, now I've opened so many apps, is the ability to see what my AIO is doing. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So this is the, of course, Corsair is still number one, even though I just opened an app. This is the EVGA flow control to see how the AIO is doing for the CPU cooler. And just for reference, we're sitting at 30.6 right there. So there you go. We're at 44, and I'm actually, minimize that. We see EVGA is open right there. Now we're getting to the point where it's like, you don't need this much stuff open. Now we're going to open the one for our GPU. EVGA Precision X1. Again, this is way too many stuff that you should be opening. A computer should handle it, but we shouldn't. Okay, let's go back here, sorry. We're sitting at 46C, 45C. CPU, it doesn't matter what it is. Occasionally, whatever you start on your computer, Corsair will immediately run this remote system somewhere. Again, we're at what? 4812, 4812. 15 processes running at the same. I mean, of course, there are a lot more running in the background, but these are the ones that are in our little taskbar here. OBS. Okay, OBS. Let's start OBS now. 56. 52. It's running, and if I start recording, yeah, sure. I'm not sure how we're recording. Let's look at the utilization here. About 0.4% utilization. OBS is currently 1%. OBS finally beat it. OBS looks like it's fine. Okay, we're gonna stop recording. I'm not sure where it recorded that, but alright, I'm gonna go ahead and close that out, and that should completely be closed out. Yep, it is. So now, OBS Studio is still running stuff in the background. Corsair is number one, then the Precision, then A-Tuning. Yeah, too much stuff going on. So now I'm going to systematically close everything. And we're going to see, so the ones I know for sure aren't causing a problem are Steam. And you won't see much of a temperature change yet. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and bring this out to the side a bit. Just like that. So you will still be able to see it. So the ones that aren't causing problems are Steam. You won't see much of a change there. Origin. Origin is a bit heavy. These X1 Precision, those are the ones that actually are kind of heavy on usage. We're still above 40C. EVGA flow control. We'll go ahead and exit that. Still above 40C. Logitech G Pro. This one is a little bit problematic. (43C). So this one is problematic, killer, because I'm using two different both Ethernet and Wi-Fi. It's trying to resolve both at the same time, so you are going to see a dip here. We're just slowly closing out apps. We should be dropping below, but we're not, because I know the problems are Discord, icue, and even Epic Games is not that bad. But I'm going to go ahead and close Razer. Exit all their... They have a ton of apps, by the way. You can close it and it'll still be open. Yeah, but basically all the RGB on the computer is now default when you start the computer. So that one, unfortunately, will have to run regardless. So we're sitting at 41C. We're getting there. But it doesn't matter, because if you look at Discord, there's like 6 instances. We have the game manager still open from Razer. We have a bunch of Nvidia stuff going on. We have central service, synapse service process. So it doesn't matter. You can close it out and it'll still be running. So just remember that. So what are we doing? What is using? See, of course, Corsair is still using the most, followed by Task Manager. So the next one we're going to close out is Epic fixed their problem, actually. Oh, wait, hold on. There you go. I'm going to open that. So we're sitting at 42C now. So next thing we're going to close out is Epic. They did fix it. It may make a difference, but I don't think so. It's still going to be above 40C because of those two particular services. Are we actually going to drop below 39, or is Corsair going to save us from dropping below 39? Oh, we did. So Epic is obviously a known offender for this. It's better, but not perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and close out. You're going to see a big change with Discord. And we're at 40C. Corsair is still running. It doesn't matter if I close it, but yeah, 39C. Now, finally, what do we have left? I'm gonna quit this. Corsair, go away. I quit you now. It should go, right? No, we're still above 40C. And if you think, oh, it's 39C, it's not a big deal. I literally have nothing running on my computer. That is a big deal. It shouldn't require that much processing power to be on your desktop and doing nothing. So we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and just a second, just bring this up like that. Hopefully you guys can see it. We're going to go ahead and end that task. And the temperature is right down there. So when I end that task, which is the CPU, but that's going to come back in a second. If you look at the bottom, we've ended the task. Still arranged. And you see the temperature now? 37C, 36C. I'm going to bring this down quickly before it opens up again. So we are still arranged by CPU utilization. And Corsair immediately comes back up 40C. I've exited it. It's still on. It's there when you start up your computer. So let's go ahead and remove it. And we're going to see if that fixes anything. Ooh, Corsair, you're in trouble. Okay, so we are back. Everything's starting up again. Probably Task Manager. I'm going to go ahead and start a tuning again. Okay, thank you for doing that for me. A tuning, yes. Give it a second to do that. And what is our temperature? Let's go ahead and see. 56C starting up. That's not bad, not bad. Again, we're gonna take a look at what apps we're running. So this is my typical setup. So now utilization right now is 3% for what? 5%. So all these things are still starting up. That's okay. Temperatures at 44C. Once everything has dropped, Razer starting up, that's okay. We dropping low 39C. I have uninstalled Corsair's icue. Even though I force quit a lot of their processes and everything, it would still come up. And these are my typical apps that I have open. Steam, the Killer Control app, Razer Central, G-Hub, and A-Tuning. These are typically what I have open. And you know what? If I go ahead and so we're at 2% utilization. If I go ahead and close this out, it should be less. Temperature should go down even further. Just a second. $39C. There's 38C. So now everything's getting into steady state. It's doing this normal processing. We boost up just a little bit. I did the clock cycles boost go up, and it'll slowly reach steady state. So generally what I've noticed in general is as it approaches 5 degrees, within 5 degrees Celsius, the CPU temp from the actual AIO temperature, which will come up in just a second, EVGA flow control, it takes a while to get set up. So it will never go within 5C of the coolant temp. That's on my system. That's what I've noticed. So the coolest my CPU will ever show up is 36C because the coolant temp is 30.6. Now there are times where it can be cooler. How do I make it cooler? If I go to operation mode and I go ahead and I change it to eco mode. I'm not going to do that because it runs at 2.2 gigahertz. Yes, it can boost up, but it's buggy for me. It kind of gets stuck after a while where the frequency will actually lock at 3.8. It won't boost, it won't downclock, it won't boost. So we're getting good temperatures. We're still boosting at around 4.7, 4.5, and these are just typical background tasks. You see it hit 36C, and as you know, basically on the desktop, we have cooler temps. Gaming temps are good. That's a whole different story that we'll get into, what I've noticed about gaming temps. But yeah, let's go over everything that's going on. And let me do this. Let me take a look at Task Manager, and we're gonna go ahead and look at all these apps. I'm gonna go ahead and look at all these apps that are open right now. So as you can see, it's no small feat. Yeah, LG has a ton of stuff open. Nvidia always has a ton of stuff open. Razer has a ton of stuff open. Steam Client has a bunch of stuff open, and Windows has their own specific processes. So between 102 and how many 92, that's 194 processes that I'm running, plus 4 apps. And we're sitting at now 3 apps, and we're sitting at where? 39C. Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with this. That was at a boost clock right at that point. But it's good. I closed flow control. Doesn't even need to be open. That temperatures are getting cooler. So yeah. Let's go into the conclusions. My conclusions and mine alone. Let's see. Let's talk about it. So what have we learned here? So basically, whatever Corsair is doing in the background, that particular app, I don't want that RGB to work. If you have a full Corsair system, I'm sorry, and a new Ryzen system. I don't know, my particular 5800X does it, I don't know, maybe with the 5600X or the 5900X or the 5950X, it won't do that. It never did that on my 2700X. I never had temperatures go above 38C on idle, even when it was boosting. You know, maybe 40C once in a while on idle when it was boosting, but no, that's not normal. And Corsair, whenever that app is doing, I don't want to use it. I'm okay not using my headphone stand as a headphone stand and not using the built-in DAC. I'm very much okay with that. It has great sound, unfortunately, but I can't. Fortunately, it has great sound, but unfortunately I can't use it. So, that's my conclusion. Is Epic fixed their problem? Discord is kind of a problem. Corsair has a lot of apps that run without you knowing, and it's causing my CPU to heat up. Your run may vary. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are experiencing the same problem, let me know in the comments below, and whether uninstalling it fixed it, or if there's another workaround, whether there's a way to disable that, and maybe they will once they see this. Hopefully they see this, that maybe the CPU ID thing is not really what needs to be running on my computer all the time. That process alone is increasing CPU temps by 5 to 6C on my end with the 5800X. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.